So I have actually been dealing with mental health here and harassment of internet bullying for some time now, and I have my own way of kind of combating it. I usually call my Tuesdays that I have off from all forms of work as like my mental health kind of day, and I've always kind of wondered how others handle the stress of being online, and making content for others, being an influencer overall. Even though I'm more so in a kind of small scale kind of thing, just shy of 1 million followers or so on TikTok, and I'm trying to grow on other platforms, but it's not. It's still a work in progress. But I've always wondered how others, reacted to this kind of stuff, how they were able to handle it, if they even had any problems whatsoever. And I came across this video on Asmongold, who's a man who I have an enormous amount of respect for. I started watching the first 30 seconds until I realized I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should react naturally to this because he does a lot more than I do on a larger scale. Does he have the same kind of type of problems? Does he react in the same kind of style? What kind of things does he do in order to get over it? So we're going to react to this together.
Hey guys, today I wanted to talk to you all about internet harassment and how I deal with it and the best practices to deal with it that I've learned so far. And I'm going to be talking about this primarily on a functional level, like how to deal with it in your stream, on your YouTube channel, etc. And then also how to deal with it in terms of mental toll, emotional toll that it can take on you, and the best way to go about it in the healthiest way possible. So it goes as no surprise, and it's no secret that a lot of people have been harassed online recently, and I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video a year after it came out, this is probably still going to be true because that's just the way the internet works.
I want to just stop right there real quick. That could not be even further from like. I mean, that could not be even like true to the truth. You don't even have to make content online. I mean, harassment is everywhere. I mean, there's really no way of avoiding it at all either. And for the longest time too, I was always told by a bunch of people that probably have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. That is when you have haters, when you're being harassed, that you're doing something right. And in reality, that's not really the truth. People just like to harass to make themselves feel better in general. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how you react. Someone will always find a way to troll or trying to bring you down in any way whatsoever. Just because that's just I feels like that's just the way humanity is now, and it does suck. But I mean, in reality, it's all about how you handle it. Are you going to use it to make yourself better? Are you going to is it going to become worse for you? Is it going to break you down more? Is it going to turn you great? There's no way of really knowing. But I really want to hear the rest of this.
And I think that there's a very unfortunate paradox of creating content online, which is if you create content online, you should expect to be harassed.
Yes.
You should expect to have people bring up the worst things about you. Like if you're fat, they're going to call you fat.
Yes. If you're talking about a personal opinion, if you're talking about anything, whatever content you're creating itself, you want a reaction. If people just watched your videos and never reacted to it, you would never know what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, what you can improve on, what you should probably sit there and step away from. We would never know what is right, what was ethically right, what people want to see, what they don't want to see. Like the harassment comes with its bonuses. It comes with its flaws. Getting harassed in situations of making content is a way that you know what to do. Like you know what's going on, and it's a mental strain.
If you're ugly, they're going to call you ugly. If you're balding, they're going to call you balding.
I'm 30 and they call me old.
Doesn't matter what it is. People are going to pick out the most unflattering thing about you and
I literally sell poison
to
people.
Use that to hurt you.
I'm a bartender.
And that's just the way that things are on the internet. This is something you can expect to happen on the internet. And the paradox part of this is that it never should happen. A person should never have to deal with this. A person should never have to be told this kind of stuff. They should never have to be harassed. But it's a catch-22. You should not make content online if you can't deal with harassment, but harassment should not happen online either. So,
can I add to that too? The amount of people that I've seen beforehand that want to start making videos, which is fine. Like I always encourage it. If people want to reach out to me, they want to sit there and do whatever around me, I love it. I'm bully for it. But they get one negative comment and they're done. They'll like delete their account, they delete all their forms of social media, and they like run away and hide. You have to understand beforehand, before you start creating, that it's going to happen, and it's only going to get worse. You're never going to get less harassment with the larger crowd you have. The more people watch you, the more people are going to have something to say. Truth be told.
So that's the world that we live in. So I'd like to tell people kind of how I navigate that space. I've had a lot of times where people have been angry at me. Sometimes I've dealt with it in a good way, sometimes I haven't. And I've learned
I
from
could not
that
agree
in
more. I've
both
done the same.
ways. I think that sometimes failing teaches you more than succeeding does. So anyway, I think the first place that I want to start off at is how to deal with how to categorize people's feedback. And I made a tweet about this recently, is that there are a lot of people who like posting their hot takes on the internet. They like, saying the thing that's controversial. They like being a little bit
Yep.
edgy. And then the moment that anybody says, "Hey, that's really edgy. I don't like that. Shut the fuck up. You're
That's
wrong.
fine.
That's
You can say
stupid."
whatever you want.
Then they're like, "Oh my god, I'm getting harassed." I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. But being harassed on the internet is not whenever people disagree with you. Okay? Being disagreed with.
Being disagreed with, in my opinion, before he says what he has to say, is someone stating an opinion. And the freedom that we have here as as a freaking human, and especially having access to the internet, is you're allowed to say whatever the fuck you want. If you want to sit there and state your opinion, no matter how controversial it is, whether it's directly towards a person or an entire group and a government, whatever it might be, you can say whatever you want. You just have to sit there and handle and be able to accept the consequences. And that goes both ways for both content creators and just random people as well, but especially those who sit there and hate in the comment section. The amount of times I get DMs about people just sitting there bitching my ass out is absolutely absurd. But I want to hear what Asmongold has to say.
With a disagreement and people not thinking the same thing you do, that's not them harassing you.
That's
okay?
not harassment.
But there is a
Same
lot
opinion.
of cases of actual harassment. So I'd like to show people a little bit how kind of like I differentiate the two. So number one
Okay.
is that if a person puts in their comment a personal insult on your physical appearance, that comment goes in the garbage
Yeah, I delete those.
instantaneously. I stop reading it. I stop caring. I stop even taking it seriously in any capacity.
That's another thing I have to do too. My rule of thumb with this is I try not to read comments after the first hour of something being posted. I'm not sure if this could help somebody else in the future as well if you want to try this mindset. Because I've been told before too, don't even read the comments. But I like seeing the positive ones because they can make my day. But one of the things I've realized is the majority of the people that will comment early when a video is first posted are usually like your diehard, your true community, or the kind of people that are going to be more and more positive, or more positive than the average person. So that kind of stuff will make you feel better, right? Like that little serotonin boost. However, usually after that first hour is when you start getting your trolls, the people are going out of their way to ruin your day, or speak their mind because they're part of this woke culture that apparently is taking over right now. But I try to limit my amount of messages I receive, which is why I try to only answer DMs on platforms away from the ones I've produced most of my content on. I think it works. I'm not really sure. It's worked so far.
So if they're calling you fat, if they're calling you
Call fat every
ugly,
day.
if they're making fun of your physical appearance in any way
My
whatsoever,
alcoholic appearance.
you should
apparently.
probably just take that criticism and throw it in the garbage.
Yep,
Because
do
the
that.
odds are this
100%.
person just fundamentally does not like you, and this is just what's going to happen. You put yourself out there, and there's going to be a lot of people that just simply don't like you. And
Yep.
what's even more odd about this is that there will be people that don't like you because a lot of other people do like you.
Yes.
It's the same as there's contrarians, right? They're the people that hate all the popular
the people I
shows.
work with, they hate
don't
on me
listen
just
to
'cause
the
people come
songs
in and
on the
say hi.
radio.
Okay,
These kinds of
sorry.
guys. So that's just the way that they are with content creators as well. You just have to be ready to acknowledge that if you want to make yourself happy, you have to know and acknowledge that there will be other people that don't want that to happen. And it's not fair, it's not good, and it is true. And I think there's a lot of elements to this that is pretty much along those lines. Is that there are things that should not happen, but they do, and this is how to deal with them whenever they do happen.
Yep.
So anyway, any criticism, any feedback that people give you that is tied to a personal insult that is tied to your personal appearance, your physical appearance, throw that in the garbage.
Correct.
The next thing to do is to also look at comments of people that are actually trying to engage with you, because I don't think that it's always a bad idea to engage with and try to talk to people that might have a different point of view. But one thing that I've definitely learned is that there have been a number of these times, and I'll give you guys an example of this, right? So how many of you all have seen, I don't want to go too far off on a tangent, so I'll try to keep this short.
I'm curious.
How many of you guys all seen an article, and the article puts out misinformation?
Misinformation needs to stop being misconstrued as wrong information. Which, hear me out, I know it's kind of back and forth. So a lot of times journalists, content creators will sit there and say a word wrong, just to enact somebody in the comments. Because as a human, as what we like to do is we like to correct people, especially people in the comment section. We like to react to videos that like to prove that somebody's wrong. I don't know if that's just in human nature in general, or if it's just what our culture has made it, or like taught us what to do. But sometimes I'll like pronounce the word tequila as tequila, or Casamigos as Casamigos, and it bothers people. And I do that on purpose to get a reaction. That's not me harassing them. And then them responding back is not considered as harassment. That's correcting, that's stating an opinion. That's just saying something. It's creating a something. It's like almost hard to word this, but like you're almost forcing engagement, and that's not harassment. But so many people take it as that. They're like, oh, I've been yelled at in the comments because I spelled this word wrong. No, they're just pointing it out. That's not a problem, and that's just something. If you can't handle that, then it gets a lot worse. So.
And then the article stays up, and then the misinformation is corrected later on, but the misinformation has like 1,000 likes, and the article had 100,000. So the misinformation just doesn't really, or the claim that the actual correction has like almost no traction, but everybody still believes the base article. And this is an unfortunate reality of the internet, because the base article is probably more interesting, so people care more about that than whether... And I think that also goes into another bigger element that I'm going to talk about soon, is treating yourself like an entertainment station, and treating yourself not like a person, which is very important, I think, and I'll talk about that more. But anyway, so I made a video, and a person claimed that they had their video DMCA'd by Amazon because it was showing a hack or some sort of exploit in New World. And I said that Amazon was pieces of shit for doing this, and I went off on a tirade about this, and I said if this was true. Well, it turns out that it was not true, and I took the video down. I took it down because I was like, this video spreads misinformation that makes Amazon look bad.
I'm actually very surprised about that one as well, because there's a lot of content creators out there as well that are being paid for videos that are controversial like this, and regardless of what the backlash might be, they might see the money coming in, the way they're getting paid for it through the monetization of like Google AdSense and YouTube. They might take the money over the potential backlash of keeping the video up. But I mean, in this situation, I don't know what I would do because of the financial position I'm in. But Asmongold obviously does very well for himself, and I think he made the right move there. Like, he took the video down. It was misinformation. It wasn't truly benefiting his community. He probably made what he needed to off of it, both before and after, and is still making some stuff afterwards. He didn't get deplatformed or canceled in the process, so I think he made the right decision. And I feel like a lot of people might have a hard time accepting that as well. So
bad in a way that was not true. And they still made a mistake by DMCAing the video, but it was not for this reason, so I issued a correction, and I deleted the original video. Well, people, of course...
Honestly, well done.
Guess what? People thought Jeff Bezos paid me to do that. So I went on, and I made an honest, good faith effort to explain to people why I made the decision that I did, and they said, shut up, you're just being paid by Jeff Bezos again. Oh, is he paying you to make this video too? And the reality...
For what it's worth, too, and this goes across like all forms of content creation, all forms of influencers, all that. When you make popular content, big name celebrities, big name CEOs, people with a lot of money will see your stuff. They will, be honest. Like, that's just the reality of it. I mean, there's, 8 billion people in this world right now? I don't know the exact number. But, I mean, statistically speaking, your video will have been seen by somebody significantly more famous than you. Whether or not they're going to sit there and influence what you're going to say next or what you do next is almost nothing. This guy, Asmon, could say whatever the fuck he wants, and people like Jeff Bezos might see his video. But at the end of the day, he knows that nothing that Asmon says will affect the company as Amazon as a whole, and if it does for any reason, it'll probably benefit them. He's getting free advertisement out of it. So no, Jeff Bezos is not going to influence Asmongold by paying him off. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg's not going to sit there and influence whoever the fuck goes on Facebook gaming right now, to make them put out content that's only going to benefit the company as a whole. That's just not going to happen. Susan, the previous CEO of YouTube, did not go out of her way to influence Ludwig's type of content style and pay him directly to promote and or say a certain thing. There's no reason to. They don't care enough. What we are smaller people making content, we do not affect the global scale. As much as you would like to think that, that is not true. and a lot of them, or a lot of us, do not get paid nearly the amount that you might think. I mean, I made a video that had over 100 million views in 3 days across 4 platforms. I barely got paid off of Facebook with it. I think I got $200 from TikTok from it. 100 million views, and I got almost nothing out of it. I barely, I didn't, it didn't pay rent for the month. So no, that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, the amount of the amount of people that see a video, the amount of views that people that is on that video, the amount of like subscribers you have, or you're not going to be paid off by some major corporation. I just need to put that part out there because I get harassed on that on so many different fucking levels. People are like, "Oh, Rumplemitz is definitely paying you." I wish Twisted Tea is definitely paying you. I can't even get them to respond back to a DM right now. So absolutely not. I got Old Bay to respond to one, and they sent me a care package of Bloody Mary mix, some Old Bay seasoning, and a koozie. That might be worth $2, the whole package together. So no, I'm not getting paid off. None of us are.
Reality is that I'd say about half of those people are trolling, and the other half are not. And the reason why I'm getting to this is that people never like being proven wrong.
Correct.
And people will more than likely say that they are trolling or, hold on to a bad opinion they have rather than actually change their opinion whenever being presented with new evidence. Because they don't have to change their opinion. They're under no obligation to be beholden to facts or, like science or evidence or anything like that. They don't give a fuck about that. They just want to see you take an L. And in a lot of cases, it's not even about you. It's about they don't want to take an L themselves. So even whenever confronted with unverifiably or like undisputably verifiable evidence that this is not the case or another good argument, they will still not believe it because they don't want to. And I think this is another element here is that
controversial, but
people
true.
are going to believe what they want to believe.
Very true.
And it
Flat
doesn't
earthers.
matter how good your argument is. It doesn't matter how hard you try. It doesn't matter how many times you rewrite the same tweet in your head. Listen, people are just going to think that, and it doesn't matter. I've always used a phrase, you build 100 bridges and you suck one dick. You're not a bridge builder, you're a dick sucker. And it doesn't matter what the proportion is.
It's another thing, too. When it comes to, you can do all the best things in the world. Let's take Mr. Beast, Jimmy, for example. This man has built his life around giving back to the people around him, and he does a pretty damn good job of it. He made a single video where he cured 1,000 people of blindness, and people want him canceled for it. He didn't even do anything wrong, but the fact that he went out of his way to monetize, essentially doing what anyone claims they'd do if they had money, and people want him demonetized or deplatformed because of it, it blows my mind because he's making money in order to pay for this kind of stuff to occur. How else would the money be brought in if he wasn't patronizing these kind of situations? Like, he has to monetize it from some way because this money doesn't just come out of nowhere. I mean, we all wish it did. We all wish we would just wake up every morning, live our best life, and have money deposited in our bank account. But that's just not the way the world works. It's a sad reality, but hopefully, like, the masses can sit there and understand that, wrap that around their thick skulls here eventually.
It matters how interesting it is to say what the different things are. What's more interesting, a dick sucker or a bridge builder? Well, I think a lot of people would say a dick sucker.
It'd be funnier that way.
So that's just the way the world works. And
I can't build no
the
damn
reality
bridge.
is that oftentimes, like, I always looked at myself, because again, like, whenever you take criticism, I think it's important to kind of create an effigy of yourself that is who you are online. And it's kind of like a target dummy, a scarecrow, whatever you want to use. There's a million metaphors for this. But the point is that people attack the person who you are online, not necessarily you, because as anybody who makes content online knows, who you are online is not exactly who you are in real life.
Yes, dude. Like, people don't seem to understand, and actually, well, no, I take that back. A lot of people do, and I didn't really pick up on it until I was about a year into making content. I'm now on almost year 3. Your internet persona is a different person. That's just what it is. It's a persona. It's a face you put on for other people to enjoy or obtain some kind of knowledge or entertainment through. And usually who you are or who that person is in real life is something different. That's why I always say never meet your heroes. It's hard because, like, a lot of times people will see me online and see me as some cocky bartender who will sit there and always have an answer for everything. But in real life, if you know me outside of the social world, I sit in this closet and I play League of Legends. I play StarCraft for 12 hours straight, and I hate talking to new people. I'll eat ramen soup every day and drink water out of the tap. As much as you might think I'm some raging alcoholic that likes to sit there and wear horny shirts out in public and do whatever, that's not me. That's just a face I put on, and that's what the majority of the people in my life know me as too. But then anyone who's known me anything past that point knows that that's just not me at all. And it's hard to sometimes it's hard to know where the line is drawn of what your internet persona is, who you are to the masses, and who you actually are, because sometimes they kind of bleed into one another, and I think that's where a lot of the mental health aspect behind it being harassed really comes into play, because you never know if someone's trolling you or harassing you. Are they harassing the real you? Do they actually know you? Maybe they're seeing right through it, or are they just insulting this internet persona that you made up one day that in reality you don't really give a shit about?
I think that there's a very large spectrum for this. Whether it's somebody who's streaming 24/7 or somebody like Dr. Disrespect.
I've tried to do that. I can't do it.
But in general, I think that this is true. Is that you generally act different on camera than you do off camera, in the
Correct.
same way that you probably act different around your friends than you do around your grandma. So
Correct.
that's very
100%.
normal. It's very healthy. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that also it allows you to disconnect yourself and kind of have a little bit of dissonance between the things that people are saying to you and the things that personally bother you.
Yes.
And I felt that that helps me a lot. And also, I even took this a step further, and I've tried to do this in the last maybe year or two, is that I've looked at everything that happens to me. I stopped viewing myself as a person. I've stopped viewing myself as an individual and what I want, what I need, how I feel. I threw all those things in the garbage because nobody else cares about that. People care about the content. They care about being entertained. And
it goes right back to what he was saying earlier. He sees himself as an entertainment console, basically. He's just a figure that people look at as a form of entertainment, and that's so damning on somebody's mental persona, especially me in situations where I'm a bartender full time. I make content full time about bartending, so people seem to think I'm just a tool that people can use in order to either get their fix of poison and or hear about it enough to the point where they want to go out and drink or talk to somebody about it. But in reality, I'm not like that person at all. It's starting to make me think that maybe I should just accept the fact that that's my fate. It's what I've created. It's what I've gotten to now. It's what people identify me as. And now I have a lot to think about. But I do want to finish this video.
And if you're not doing that, nobody cares about you and they don't like you. So the way that I try to look at things is that I only look at perspectives, and I only look at doing something from the perspective of how is the viewer going to feel about this. And also, if it's something that's in my benefit, I don't know, doing a sponsorship or something like that, then I only look at it from that perspective. And I don't, my monitor turned off. I'm using that as a light, by the way. There we go. That's
Smart,
a little bit better. And I try
monitor,
to look at it
perfect for a key light.
in that way. And I know this might sound very odd and maybe even a little bit sociopathic, that I don't even view myself as a person whenever I'm online, but the truth is that I'm not. I'm just pixels.
I mean,
he's
right, but that's a hard take. It's hard to accept.
You're looking at a monitor, and you're looking at a phone. And yes, of course, this is I'm 14 and this is deep statement, but I think that there is a certain level of truth to it. And in that truth, I think that you can actually find solace in the fact that what you are is not this entire person. It's just this version of yourself that people see. And whenever you can contextualize and compartmentalize where you are in that little box, it makes it much easier to be who people want you to be, and also to be the person you want to be in another way. So whenever I take that approach and people have gotten really mad at me for something like that, I don't really care, because getting mad at me, hate threads, positive threads, I don't know what those are like, but I've heard they're good.
I would love a positive thread in my life.
It's all the same.
If you want to make one for me, feel free. I'll enjoy the shit out of it.
So view anything good or bad that happens to you as content. And I think that way it gives you, not only does it give you a certain level of disconnect from it, but it also gives you a control over it. Because now you're not thinking about, oh, this is happening to me. Now you're thinking about, imagine drawing cards. And if you draw a card that's not the card you want to draw, you still have to find a way to plan it or to play it anyway. And I think that that gives you more autonomy and more
And speaking
control
facts,
over the outcome in your life. And overall, I think that's a much healthier outlook than to just blame the internet for being mean or to blame a group of people for being assholes or something like that, because all you're really doing is blaming something other than yourself. And you can do that, by the way. You can say that it's totally somebody else's fault, and you know what the best part is? You're probably right. And you know what the worst part is?
it's another thing. I just got in this argument with the people I worked with last night too, and it's one of those hard realities. I feel like you kind of learn when you get older. You can call it wisdom. You can call it whatever the fuck you want. You could be right. You could be right every time. It does not matter. At the end of the day, it's what benefits you the most. Is it being right, or is it the other person knowing full and well that you're willing to, take the L, but gain more benefit out of it? Like what puts you in a better position? Is it accepting what's going on, regardless of what's right or wrong, or is it you being able to move forward and just putting it behind you? At the end of the day, being right is not all that important. And if I feel like as a kid it might have been, but in reality, as a grown adult, especially when you're trying to do stuff on social media, it's not. Which sucks,
Nobody
but
fucking cares, and it doesn't matter.
it
It
does
doesn't
not matter.
matter how often you're going to go and say that, oh, yeah, this is all these other people's fault, and, oh, this isn't my fault, like, oh, this happened to me, it's not fair. Nobody gives a fuck.
They don't.
Nobody cares.
They
It
don't want the
doesn't
story. They
matter.
just want the answer.
And to the extent that you start complaining, people will start resenting you. Because as a content
Yes,
creator,
I have to
and,
stop
and this
doing
is,
that.
again, I'll tell you guys this, right? My first, major, viral moment on the internet was a hate thread, okay? It was whenever I made my video, the Asmongold's Lair 2010, and somebody posted it on Reddit, and everybody was like, wow, I guess this is what people do before they kill themselves, or this is what this I bet this guy's never had a girlfriend, or I wonder how bad this guy smells, or I wonder what this guy looks like, or something like that, right? And it's all insults.
Yeah.
But the truth is
It's a
that
lot
none
of
of this
insults.
bothered me because, bro, who the fuck records a video of a bunch of moldy soda cans and then they get upset whenever somebody says it's gross? Of course people are gonna say that. What are you gonna cry about that? Then don't post the fucking video. It's that.
I mean, my rise to fame was me hating on people who try to get away with the fact that they had underage fake IDs. And when I first made that video, I made it as a joke, but a lot of people were actually getting upset at me. They're like, well, people are just trying to live their best life. Like, why are you trying to compete on their fun? Like, well, they paid for that. Why are you going to sit there and kick them out anyway? Like, oh, their money's still good here, too. Well, the rest of the world, they allow people to drink underage. They can drink under 21 years old. America sucks as a whole. Oh, but, you have to wait until you're 21 years old to have your first drink. Like, for the longest time, actually, I didn't even realize that until right now. The majority of those comments I got very early were all negative, like 99% of them. Very few people ever actually agreed with me until now, a few years later. A lot of those people turned 21 years old, and now all of a sudden they're like, oh, I know what you meant by that now. Well, yeah, I wasn't trying to sit there and be a dick about it, but I mean, there's situations where, like, me being slightly older than that, or that age at that time period, I learned that when I was a kid that I was dumb, I was stupid, I did stupid things. Like, I thought I was going to get away with stuff, but I really didn't. And the only reason why I did is because the other person either did not give a shit, or I somehow just squeezed through the cracks of the system, or I was in a different area. Like, in reality, I was trying to sit there and tell a story while many people took it personally. And I got a lot of harassment. Like, I got a lot of trolls in my comment section, like thousands of them on every passing day. I would have people go out of their way and find me on, like, Facebook and DM my brother saying I sucked. Do you know how much you have to hate somebody to go out of your way to even figure that out? And what do they have to gain from it? Me getting a text from him? Or me getting a text from my brother saying, like, who is this guy? I'm like, I don't know. And at that point, the conversation was done. There was a lot of work being done to harass me at a level that made no sense. But yeah, he's right again. He's
That's
batting
simple.
1,000.
And again, a lot of content creators, a lot of people that watch content creators want to be content creators.
Yes,
What
I
is
really
the
do.
number one job that people in the UK and America want to have? Kids.
Yes.
Being a YouTuber. What is it in China, by the way? Astronaut. I don't know how that's going to turn out. I'll let you know in 30 years. But
It's a
not
really
looking
good
very
point.
good. Anyway, so
Ugh.
you have these people and they want to be content creators, and they see a content creator who is in a lifestyle that they themselves think that this is a perfect lifestyle. They have idealized
It's
this
not a perfect lifestyle.
to be like, this is their dream. Their dream is to be a YouTuber or a streamer. and then they have somebody who's a YouTuber or a streamer complaining about it, and this is like a personal insult to them. They're angry at you because they're thinking you should be thankful for what you have. If I was in your position, I would be so happy and all my problems would be solved.
That is so far from the truth. Well, I'm saying, like, I'm agreeing with what Asm just said, but I'm saying it's so far from the truth when, like, when people come up to me and they're like, dude, it must be awesome, getting recognized on TikTok, people taking pictures with you, like you get all this free stuff. In reality, I'm like, dude, there's just some days I want to sit down, dude. I'm tired. Like I for the most part, I wake up most mornings about 7 o'clock in the morning. I review videos on my own For You page on other platforms, things I was tagged in, Reddit articles for 4 or 5 hours, and then I spend 2, 3 hours making a video that takes me reality 30 seconds to record. I post it. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. Sometimes it works well. And then I go to work. I still work, 50, 60 hours, depending on what week it is. And then on top of that, you have to do reading messages, reading my comment section, responding to people in public, going out and trying to be a semi-public figure as best as I freaking can, and then still having a life on top. It's not for everybody. Like, it's something I love because I've gotten used to it. And it's something that I feel as if I balanced out pretty well. But there are tons of people that go out of their way. They're like disappointed when they meet me in person because they think I'm some. They build up this scenario, this reality in their head that it's just all fake. It's all scenario. It's a fantasy of what it's like to make content. And I'm not even that big. I mean, I hope to one day maybe become to that level. Like, I'm recognized in public pretty often, like really often. But in reality, like, it's that lavish lifestyle that everyone seems to think that it occurs. It's not true. Like, there are plenty of people out there, like I've met, that I'm not going to call them out by names, that you think they're living this multi-million-dollar lifestyle being an influencer. In reality, they rent the cars they have, they rent the boats, they usually go into debt on their credit card, they have massive deals with these investors that they're never going to pay out on, and they end up going to doing things like working in a Chick-fil-A. A few of them went to join the army afterwards, which, by the way, I'm not hating on, but like, they don't seem to understand that this lifestyle is all fake. It's paid for. Like, you have these massive people sitting there traveling the world with every penny that they have, and they're living, paycheck to paycheck off YouTube. And if a video gets demonetized, they're done. Like, there's no other way of getting around it. Like, I mean, you can try to diversify as much as you want, getting many forms of income from multiple different platforms, but you can only do so well. And it's not nearly at the level that you might think. I know streamers do pretty well, but that's like the top 0.01%. And that's not that many people. And even so, they're only up there for 6 months, a year, maybe. I mean, Asmongold has been doing well for years. Love the man to death. I don't know how long it's gonna last for. I hope it lasts until his last breath, and I hope that's not for a while. But in reality, like, dude, it's hard. It's really freaking hard, and you might not get out of it what you want. It's tough.
And maybe that's true, maybe that's not true. It doesn't really matter whether it's true or not. But one thing that I've learned is that complaining about being a content creator to people that want to be content creators, it's a pretty tough audience. So don't even do it. Don't even try.
Hopefully this doesn't deter you.
Like, you want to get it out there. You want to put yourself out there. Bro, you're not yourself. You're a version of yourself. Stop trying to make other people accept you. Stop trying to, make the internet give you their seal of approval. Stop trying to make people tell you that you're okay, that what you're doing is okay. Because the only person's approval that you need is your own. You don't need anybody else to give you the approval to be yourself.
Like I'm at church right
Unless,
now.
of course, you're breaking the law, right?
Yeah, don't do that. Don't
if
break the law.
yourself is a murderer, then maybe don't be yourself. But other than that, say what you want to say, be who you want to be. Because at the end of the day, you shouldn't live your life trying to apologize for who you are.
Correct.
For better or for worse.
And if you apologize for who you are, you were lying to
begin with. That type of lifestyle that's more true to yourself gives you much more longevity. Because eventually, if you try to play a character, people are going to find out. People
Correct.
are going to figure it out, and they're going to see what's behind the mask. They're going to see the man behind the machine, and the immersion's going to be broken, and people won't like you anymore. So it's much better to just be yourself, at least to an extent, or at least be a version of yourself that you're comfortable with online. Not that you're constantly trying to, be a different person. Even though, of course, it is contextualized around only being that version of yourself online. Again, another catch-22. Doing these kinds of things is complex psychologically, but a lot of things are online. That's just the way it goes. So yeah, Never complain about your job as a content creator. Oh yeah, you can get swatted. Yep, that definitely can happen. Does
I hope that
anybody
never
on the
happens to me.
internet care? Yeah,
Pray to
they're
God
going to
that
say that they
never happens
care,
to
but
me.
if you sit there and complain about it all the time, they're going to tell you to get a real job anyway because they wish they were in your position. Never really complain about being.
I've rolled thumb too. If anyone ever tells you to get a real job, they're unhappy with their own position and they're jealous of yours. Please prove me wrong.
A content creator. Also, don't treat your audience like your own diary. Everybody always talks about parasocial relationships, about how viewers get too emotionally attached to streamers. Well, nobody ever talks about how streamers might get too emotionally attached to their audience and think for a second that, oh, all these people actually really know me, and then I'm going to go play this other game and they're all going to love it. But then, whenever you're some Warcraft streamer and you're streaming World of Warcraft for 600 viewers, you swap over to play Apex Legends and you go down to 60 viewers, and all those people who said they were there for you, it turned out they were lying.
They're there for the content.
It's a very hard pill to swallow. But once you do it, you'll be better off.
Yeah.
Because once you understand that and you realize who you are in a healthy way, it'll give you a better outcome or a better outlook on who you want to be. Because if you just spend your whole life pretending like you're another person, living in a fantasy world, you're not going to do yourself any favors. And you're not going to... I've never seen a story like that that ends positively. So what I'm really trying to get at here is that if people are being rude to you or something like that, or they're being mad at you or anything, it's important to take what people say into consideration. Because, again, it is feedback.
They're going out of their way to say it.
At the same time,
there might be a reason.
Shouldn't really have to. I believe in personal censorship. I don't believe in censorship really hardly at all, minus, like, of course, crazy stuff like death threats, doxing, etc. But I don't really believe in that, but I do believe in personal censorship. And what I mean by that is that if you fucking hate bananas, like I'm talking about you think they are the most disgusting, ugly, awful things you have ever seen, those big yellow dicks, I think you should be able to say, I'd never want to see bananas again.
I respect
it. You should be able to blacklist the word on Twitter, and people that try to push you into talking about it or thinking about bananas, you should ban them. Because at the end of the day, you should have autonomy over your own space and who you are and what you deal with and what you don't deal with. So if somebody's making you uncomfortable, fucking ban them. If somebody is trying to argue with you, fucking ban them. If somebody's trying to start some sort, or block them as well. And there will always be people that are going to say,
"Oh,
well, that just means you're weak."
It won't benefit me, but I want to do it anyway.
Why do you need their approval? This entire
drug, man.
Them saying that is
getting approval from the comment section, from your community on social media, whatever the platform might be. That serotonin, that is a drug. I'm telling you right now, if you post a video one day where you just get like a ton of people be like, oh my God, yes, girl, or like, you're totally right, I've supported you for, since day one, blah, blah, blah. Reading that kind of stuff, getting that kind of reaction can just change your entire mood. Like, your mental health in this situation improves so well, but it's almost dependent on it. And when you don't get it for a while, or you get the wrong kind, it just brings you right down. But it's maybe you shouldn't allow either side to affect your opinion or mood or person or mindset on this, because in reality, the only true opinion that matters is that of your own when it comes to you as a person. But you as a content creator, I guess it really doesn't matter. If you keep them separate, I mean, who knows what could happen.
It's predicated on the idea that what they said matters to you. So just don't let it matter. And then do whatever you want that makes yourself comfortable. Because these are, I mean, you don't even know what this person looks like. You don't know them. They don't know you. How the fuck are they going to say this? Let me tell you something. A lot of people who are very opinionated on the internet have a very high opinion of their own opinions. And they overvalue them. But the reality is that most people's opinions on the internet go straight into the garbage bin. Hey, I didn't like storm mounts for 10 years in World of Warcraft. I still don't like them. Blizzard's put that in the garbage bin. They've taken it out. They've recycled it. And they put it in the garbage bin about every 6 months now. Nobody gives a fuck what I think. And you know what? Sometimes that's a very freeing thing. Is to know that you're not... You can't hold some, like, massive group of people accountable. But the other side of that is that they can't do that to you either.
It's a
You
very good
can be
point. It's
yourself,
a
and
very,
you
very
don't
good
need
point.
anybody else's approval to do so except your own. And of course, the platform that you're streaming on, so make sure you don't get banned. But other than
I
that,
get banned all too
be
often.
yourself and don't say sorry. I don't know why it's so hard for a lot of people, and it's taken me a long time to get to this position. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not at the destination yet. But this is how far I've
It's a
gotten so far,
process.
and these are the things that I've learned over the years. And I'd like to recap everything just to talk a little bit about it, okay?
I'm listening.
Number one, criticism that you get that is based off of an insult of your personal appearance should be immediately discarded and not taken seriously at all.
Yes, sir.
Two,
You're 100% right.
treat yourself like content. The good stuff that happens to you is content. The bad stuff that happens to you is content.
Correct.
Number one, it disconnects you from the outcome. Number two, it gives you autonomy over it.
Correct.
Three, you need to also take criticism seriously, of course, if a lot of people are saying something, but at the same time, don't let it change what you believe and don't let it change who you are. And
1000%
I would also
correct.
say a fourth one is, let me think. I'm trying to think of the best way to say this or the best way to do it, is that you can't really be canceled unless you become a version of yourself that is antithetical to who viewers think you are. So, for example, whenever people found out that Keemstar said the N-word, nobody really was surprised. Like this wasn't really a big surprise.
Not gonna lie, I don't
But
know who
if
that
some
is.
other
So.
person who's, like a big, like a, social awareness person, social justice, they care about this. If this happened to them, it would completely cancel them. And the reason for that is because that person did something that is directly contradictory to the image that they portrayed online. And I've
Okay.
been canceled on Twitter. Now, I didn't know this. I had to have somebody tell me that I was canceled because I didn't check Twitter that day. And sometimes, like, articles will be written about how, people are harassing me on Twitter. Uh, I didn't. I really mean this. Like, if I see somebody, like, if you type something rude to me, I will just instantly block you. I won't read it. I will just
Smart.
see, okay, this
That's real
person's
smart.
being aggro, they're being rude. I'm not going to read it. I don't have to. There's no reason to. I don't need, and if they say, oh, well, you're weak or you have a big ego for doing that, sure, think whatever you want. Doesn't bother me. I don't. Why would it matter? Why would it matter what they think? So
You're absolutely right.
do what's comfortable for you. Do what makes you happy, and you will be happy. Do what other people want. Do what makes them happy, and you'll make them happy. And I think that's what it all comes down to. And if you are happy and you're making good content, people will show up and people will care and they'll appreciate you. If you make them happy, you're only waiting until the time that you don't. So yeah, in general, do whatever you want to do.
It's a very good point.
Don't apologize for shit that you're not sorry for. Don't try to be a person you're not. And don't take things personally. Don't care.
I need to be told that every day.
It's so hard to do. But whenever you get to that point, you will be so happy you made it. And that's how to deal with internet harassment. From somebody who's been fucking... Oh my god, I don't know how many of these... Like, I feel like it's, it's like like, remember you get your driver's license, or you turn 21, you can finally drink. And it's like I see friends of mine, and they get their first hate thread, or they get canceled on Twitter for the first time. It's like, oh man, they grow up so quick. It's almost fucking funny for me to see this, but I'm sure for them the world's falling apart. But just remember that it's actually not. Nobody really cares. And the real best apology for anything is better content. So if people aren't happy with what you're doing,
keep on
they're
improving.
not happy with what you said, they're not happy with your current content, you know how best to apologize to them? Is
Make better content. I fucking knew it.
It's very hard to do. It's a lot.
That is so true. And I'm glad I said the exact same time. Like, the best thing you can do to shut up a hater, to essentially prove it to yourself, is to improve on your content. Make better content. If you're not happy with it, chances are the people watching you are also not happy with it. If you want to shut somebody up in your life, with even if it comes to just your day-to-day job, your career, if they say you suck at your job, do better at your job. But at that point, do it for yourself. Because if you believe them, chances are you believe it yourself. because you're only going to be yourself more about it.
It's not easier to say that you're just getting bullied on Twitter, isn't it? It is. But the harder option is, in this case, in my opinion, the best one.
Correct.
And that's my best advice. So thanks for watching, guys. I'd be curious to hear. Fucking piece of shit. See that loud little ringing sound? I'm so sorry. I don't know what that is. I have to hit it in like tap.
I'm not really sure what's going on there. But no, this is a fantastic take on this. If you have any questions on my end, if you're all curious, let me know in the comments. I do actually read all of them. If you hate on me in the comments, I'm going to tell you to either eat shit, fuck off in my head and not respond, or I'll just block you. That's what I'm going to start doing from here on out, because that's what I got from this. And in reality, I'm going to do my best to make the best content I possibly can. So if you haven't already, go follow me on TikTok, on Snapchat, all the Facebook, Instagram, YouTube here. Subscribe to me now. A lot more stuff coming out. I'm going to start doing more React-based videos, and hopefully I can figure this out. So, as always, guys, have a great day, y'all.